trends that you're paying attention to? Because I know you're a futurist, and I know you're always like into the latest, and you're so well versed in that. What trends are you paying attention to with regard to the workforce in general, but particularly executive leadership? And you talked a little bit about it in your prior answer, but what are you paying attention to in regards to employment trends, and the like?
So I'll talk about a couple trends that were true before the pandemic that I think the pandemic really emphasis, and I think paying attention to those trends in the future, but also how it was addressed in your organization before, and how you intend to tackle it. So the first one I want to talk about, it's the experience economy, and truly how we move from engagement to experience. So the experience economy, and I'm just going to look my notes for the names. So
Sure.
it's a concept that came out in the late 90s. It was a book. It was an HR business review that came out in the late 90s that really caught fire in the past 10 years, and even more lately, to the point where Harvard Business Review are updating their articles on the experience economy. And the book is called The Experience Economy, and it's wrote by B. Joseph Pine-Sagan and James H. Gilmore. And the concept is that if we look into business, and then we'll translate it into what it means for employee engagement, the concept is for business, it's the fight for customer attention. And the more people pay attention to you instead of somebody else, the more you're going to win. And the way to win that attention is through creating experience, right? And Maya Angelou said it the best: people forget what you tell them, they never forget how you make them feel. So with that in mind, if we think about companies that create an amazing experience, you're going to see that those are the best company out there. Disney, as an example, Amazon, Apple, and we can keep going with. So every time you see those companies winning is because they dominate the experience economy. Now, if I translate it into employee engagement, there's a difference between engagement and experience. I can be extremely engaged and have an awful experience. But what makes people stay is the experience, because the experience is what create emotions. And what create emotion is what you're going to always remember. Again, coming back to what Maya Angelou said. So that movement from engagement to experience is extremely important. And I will say in healthcare even more, because creating experience in the past year had been demanding because the pandemic was playing against us. Yeah. So again, engaged people might have had awful experience if they didn't have the resources, if they were short-staffed, or just a series of bad patient or bad cases in a row. So so to change your mind and assess experience, and creating experience is a huge trend to pay attention. Now, if we link it to the executive, and if we link it to the outlook of 2021 that we were talking a bit earlier on, where we need to expect high turnover, that engagement is not what make people stay, it's experience. And 2020 is the tough year to create experience. It was a very tough year to do so. I think we can expect a very high turnover in executive. And I think it's going to be a mix of people burned out, exhaustion. Again, change of scenery. I think we're going to have a lot of people that felt underappreciated. I think a lot of executive worked many hours, countless hours in weekend. And depending if your senior leadership paid attention to it or not, you might feel underappreciated, and then that make you look for another job. Many organizations had to do cost saving initiatives. So if an exec had no bonus or had to cut 25% of their salary, even if they're engaged, their experience was not good, because I can love my company, I can be engaged, but the experience of losing 25% of my pay is what's going to be long lasting, and that's going to make me. So we expect in the market, not necessarily Atrium, but in the market, a very high turnover in executive leadership. And again, just to link it back, the no need to move will become a competitive advantage, right? So that's going to be a big one. Yep.